Hi, Tim from the Heresy group. So you probably wasn't expecting this to come, especially at this point. Yes, it's a VSR-10 G-Spec, completely unmodified and fresh out of the box. And I explained to a few people how the idea of getting a sniper rifle just seemed like a good idea. Not very many people got it, other than Richie, which was quite strange. He was like, yeah, cool, you know, it's another thing to have in the arsenal of weapons that we have between us. But also, as some of you may or may not know, this whole channel, my whole interest in airsoft was founded around airsoft sniper rifles and the fact that at the time, 2013, 2014, there wasn't very many parts for these. You had two real options of a sniper rifle. You had something that was L96 based and you had something that was VSR-10 based. And I actually went down the L96 route. Also, most of the parts that you got then were, you know, had to be modified, and you could buy sears, but they wouldn't quite fit, and they definitely weren't going to match the piston setup that you was running. People weren't really concerned about 90 degree, 55 degree, and how they worked and how they interacted. People just wanted steel sears so they could run more power. A lot of the guns that were coming out of China at the time were around 400 FPS, which put them in that kind of mediocre space of not quite being powerful enough out of the box, but also to get them to that next level of power, you're taking that increase up by like 25%. So all this then like pressure on the internals and the way that things were made, like the plastic trigger boxes on the L96, they just weren't meant for that power. They just about worked at 400. Also, 9 times out of 10, you'd get them out the box and they just wouldn't work well at all. And I mean, literally would barely shoot. The TM for me was just, something beyond where I wanted to spend the money. Now, actually, these have come down quite significantly in price as to where they were. But I remember looking at the TM sniper rifles just thinking, they cost far too much. So, the G-Spec. Out of all of the sniper rifles, the VSR-10 has probably been the one that I've wanted to go to the most. It's based on that R700, and it's got that really stubby length. Why is that important? Why does that help? Well, if you are running this alongside another platform, what you don't want is, like a 5 foot odd sniper rifle. Now, with the suppressor that isn't on this at the moment, but is included with this, it does take up the length, but significantly makes the gun quieter. And this is an argument that I've heard from many people, they don't make any difference, and you can still detect the sound, and you still hear it, and so on and so forth. What I can say from 3 years of running just a sniper rifle, well, not just a sniper rifle, I had a pistol, but only towards the tail end of the years that I was playing with just a sniper. I ran a sniper for about 2.5 years. Adding a suppressor made a significant difference in 2 places. One, it was definitely quieter and harder to detect where the rounds were coming from. This is when I actually used to play against Richie and everyone, as part of the kind of militant sides. What also it definitely did do by adding the 300mm suppressor was make the gun a little bit more clumsy. What I mean by that is when the gun is significantly longer, to pull it up and away from that, say knee height brush level, you have to pull the gun so much further up and you end up with this like flagging of the stock. You can run the gun flat down in front of you, which is kind of what you want to do if the gun's camouflaged and you're in a leaf suit or whatever. You kind of want to move with it like this, so it isn't this way, because as you can imagine, walking through the woods with the gun across your breast will tear and catch absolutely everything in sight. So you kind of want to keep it streamlined. You want to move through the hedges with as little disturbance to those as possible. So as soon as the gun becomes significantly longer, you bring the stock up in the air, and as you can see, it's just bringing in and widening the silhouette, or tall, making your silhouette taller. The nice thing about this is it is so short, it's so compact. Also, the actual look and feel of the gun, it's got a very matte, flat finish. It's like it's sent to you ready to be painted. The barrel has zero movement in regards to how it fixes into the body. If you ever looked at the Well MBO 1s, 4s, 5s and all of the rest of the Well platforms, when they turned up, this would significantly move in the body. That rattling noise, by the way, is the 2 sling points, but if I hold them still and try and move this, there is zero movement. The gun and its the way it's put together, everything feels very positive, and I like that about the platform itself. So just for dry firing aspect, you can see that there's no magazine in this at all, but the bolt, I understand this is only 350 odd FPS because it's got the spring in it from Japan, but the bolt is incredibly light, and that's, you know, with the factory grease or the shelf grease on it. That is a thick white pasty grease that enables these guns to sit, for example, for long periods on a shop shelf and none of the components to go dry. It's always good to clean that shop grease off, as it's always incredibly thick. Now what I'm going to do is just fire this. I have got the plug in the end, so I'm going to take that out so you can hear some of the sound that comes through from this gun, and then we'll put on the suppressor and I'll take you through what comes in the box. Again, really, really quiet. Very, very soft trigger. And what I mean by that is the trigger itself actually sits quite far back in the guard anyway, and then when the trigger is pulled, it's very, very light. So I'm just going to run my finger across the front of here. It's super, super light. There's almost no take up, and then again, if you are sat, if you've got gloves on, which definitely something was a problem with the L96, and you're trying to get your finger in there, it's very, very easy to let the gun go off. And the same will be with this. You're going to have to be really cautious with putting your finger in there. The narrowness of the stock as well allows your hand to completely wrap around this. It does mean that it's very easy to point and to hold on to with one hand. So if you're climbing, if you're moving stuff out the way, obviously with the L96 you had to grab it up here to move it because you've got that big thicker stock at the bottom. What I'm going to do is just very quickly put this down and go through the box. So I'm going to open this up. It is a very long box, as you can see, with the nice G-Spec imagery on here, and then obviously all the Tokyo Marui details. Someone else can read them who speaks another language. Got some health and safety information in here, traditional Japanese fashion. Don't jump out of a plane, don't get upset. Don't not hold guns because they're not even holding onto it. I don't know what that one means, but it's pretty cool. I've got the magazine that comes with this. These are tiny little mags. Absolutely love these because it means you're not carrying around big scar mags. We've got some stickers and the patches down the floor in front of me from Camo Raid. So thank you very much, Camo Raids, for the stickers. We have got a black cover for the rear bolt section, and we've got some Allen keys in there as well. We have some G-Spec BBs. They feel actually quite heavyweight. I don't know what weight they are. I don't know if it says. It doesn't say. And then in here we have the Tokyo Marui suppressor. Nice and lightweight. Foam filled by the looks of it. It was spring down the inside, which is pretty traditional for Tokyo Marui suppressors. Just going to take this end cap off, see if it springs out anywhere. Yeah, so hopefully you can see in there, foam filled with the spring runner that goes down the inside, and that just stops any of the BBs from catching the outside. Nice tapered end on there as well. Just the look and feel of the stuff that Tokyo Marui puts together is always absolutely insane. So what I'm going to quickly do is just screw this on, but before I do, just to refresh your memories, I'm just going to put one round quickly through this. You can listen, I'm going to hold it up next to the mic. Quite a high-pitched clack noise at the end, almost like someone snapping their fingers together. And then I'm going to put in the suppressor. Just listen to the difference that you get. Now bearing in mind there's no BB coming through this. This is just air being pushed through. Just listen to the difference. Much duller noise. There isn't that snap. It's much more like a flatter clap noise. Again. Again, it would be much more difficult to isolate where that sound's coming from because it's a much lower note. And what your ears tend to pick up, especially if you're moving around in the woodland, is those higher notes. It's those branch snaps, it's the twigs breaking underfoot, it's the birds in the trees, or it's the whistling, those higher pitches. With that, really, and completely standard. Bearing in mind, my plans for this gun are not for it to stay as it is, as you can imagine, but for an out-the-box gun, I am super, super impressed. Now, I know you guys are going to be like, Tim, shoot it. We want to see what the accuracy is like. We want to do this. All that is to come. All I wanted to say is that I've got myself a VSR-10. I have some plans for it, and I think you're going to like them. Does this mean I'm going to be out creeping around in a leaf suit? Maybe, unlikely, who knows. But I am really, really excited about the VSR-10 platform. It's one of those guns that I've always wanted, especially the G-Spec. And I'm looking forward to using it. Now, what sniping does give you, and I will only touch this very briefly because this will be probably one of my more longer form videos where I sit and have a cup of tea and I speak about something for like 30 minutes. But what it does give you is that capability to be very, very independent, or to work in really good synchronicity with someone else. Now, we see people kicking Mustang and the likes go out and bury themselves in trees and hedges and all those sorts of things and shoot groups of people and have these great kill death streaks, or in kicking Mustang's case, you know, upset everyone that's at the field. But what you don't see from that very often is how well and how supportive the sniper role can be. And I have two views on this, and they're both polar, as you can imagine. One is you only get about an extra 20-30 meters out of a sniper rifle, and anyone that says anything beyond that, I just can't believe. And even to this day, the only time that I've seen 90 odd meter shots is when I'm shooting them myself. They are ones that I have categorically laser findered, checked, Google checked, double checked, triple checked, asked people around me, everything, to confirm that that is and was what it was. Have I seen an AEG shoot that far? No, I haven't. Have I seen an AEG shoot to 70 meters? Yes, because I've done it myself. Again, I swear by this. This is my Vortex Impact rangefinder, out to 800 meters, I think. Very, very handy tool. That sniper rifle gives you that extra distance. What it also can give you is some precision out to 60 meters, out to 70 meters. And when I say precision, I'm talking about taking that shot that you know is going to hit. And I think that's more important than the 90 meter shots. It's that knowing that you're going to get that person. It's not with a bit of wind, knowing that you've got to shoot a difficult shot, that you may have to do 4 or 5 follow-up rounds and so on and so forth that you may have with an AEG. It's having that platform that can potentially take that one shot and drop a single individual, or multiple individuals dependent on the circumstance. So I understand that there is this kind of bipolar view of how these platforms can be used, and most of the people see the, you know, ghillie coated single wolf player go out with a head cam and all these cameras on and kill loads of people. But I don't think very many people see these weapons, platforms, or setups used in a way that benefits a wider team. And that I don't think you see very frequently. If I'm wrong, obviously please feel free to correct me in the comments. So that is more how I plan to use this as a platform. Yes, it could give me some independence to go and creep around and kill people. But what I really like the idea of is using this platform and the setup and the ancillaries around this platform to be able to benefit the wider team. And more on that in 2022. Right, so VSR-10, got it from Camo Raids. They're incredibly cheap. They're easy to do up, and I will be obviously probably doing a whole series on this platform, but I'm really excited about it. I don't think many people saw this coming, so that makes it even more exciting. If you have any questions about this platform or things you want to see me do with it, please make sure that you put some comments in the box below. I am excited by this, and I'm excited by the things that I've got coming for it, and I'm looking forward to getting this out on the ground soon. So we have plenty of airsoft content, night vision related, milsim related, loadouts, the lot, back on the heresygroup.com. You should go and check it out, and I will be bringing more content to that channel pretty soon. Thanks, bye bye.